It's Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, and today's episode is brought to you by the concept of creative work becoming a chat thread, which is either the dream or the beginning of the end times folder structure. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. Also, yes, this whole episode is assembled by AI tools end to end, so if we suddenly start speaking in perfectly formatted bullet points, no we didn't. That's the robots.
All right, real story. Adobe just shipped an official Adobe for Creativity connector inside Claude. And the pitch is, honestly, kind of unsexy in the best way. It's not a new model, it's workflow glue. Claude can orchestrate actions across a ton of Adobe tools.
Like it's basically, Claude, be my Creative Cloud intern, but the intern never asks for clarification and never goes on a snack break.
Exactly. The vibe is fewer exports, fewer tabs, fewer wait, which PSD is actually final, moments. Claude becomes the command layer, Adobe stays the engine.
Hold up. Command layer is a fancy way of saying I can type, make this into a full social pack, and it just does the annoying parts? Because that's my love language.
That's the idea. Stuff like cleaning up a product shot in Photoshop, generating some Firefly backgrounds, then exporting variants for different placements, organizing them, maybe even pulling Adobe Stock and licensing it without you bouncing between apps like a pinball.
That's kind of huge for anyone doing performance creative. Like the people who live in, we need 5 crops, 3 hooks, and a new thumbnail by lunchtime.
Yeah. And it's landing right when Adobe is also pushing its own agent vibes. Firefly AI Assistant hit public beta this week too. So Adobe's basically saying, conversation is the new UI.
Which is funny because creators are like, conversation is the new UI, but also, please don't touch my layers.
Ha. That's the tension. Because the moment Claude can do production actions, you're not just prompting, you're delegating. And that changes who the power user is.
I'm going to challenge you there. The new power user isn't the designer, it's the producer. It's whoever can describe the deliverable clearly without summoning chaos.
I think it's both. Designers still have taste, typography, the eye, but the person who can direct the system, like, these are our naming conventions, this is our brand kit, here's the export matrix, that person becomes extremely valuable.
So basically, the power user is the one who writes the least worst instructions, the prompt whisperer, but for deliverables.
Right. And Adobe's calling these pre-built bundles skills. Think of them like macros with some built-in best practices.
Okay, but Hunter, skills can turn into cursed macros so fast. Like, only Jake knows the secret ritual, and if Jake quits, the whole pipeline dies. How do we not repeat history?
You don't let it become folk magic. You document it, you standardize inputs, and you make review checkpoints. Like, Claude can run the batch, but it doesn't publish without a human looking.
Claude can cook, but it can't plate.
Exactly. Brand standards are where this breaks first in the wild. Fonts, logos, regulated copy, anything legal adjacent. Claude can package the wrong folder with absolute confidence.
Oh my God. It's auditioning for chaos. It's like, here you go, I exported everything and it's the wrong campaign plus a random JPEG from your downloads folder called meme-final.
Which is why permissions matter. Adobe's setup is account linked, and your plan still governs what you can actually run. Teams are going to have to do the usual IT dance, who can license stock, who can access shared libraries, who can export finals.
Yeah, because the moment Claude can license stock inflow, that's amazing. And also, that's a budget line item with fangs.
Speaking of budgets with fangs, did you see the Uber story? They allegedly burned their entire AI budget by April, mostly on Claude code.
I saw that. That is the most relatable enterprise discovers usage-based pricing moment ever. Like, congrats, you invented a new kind of corporate snack addiction.
And it ties back here. When you make tools frictionless, people use them constantly. Creative teams are going to do the same thing with this connector. If every revision becomes just run another variation, you need governance.
Rate limits, internal chargebacks, or a you get cut off after you request the 12th make the logo bigger version.
And this week's ecosystem trend is basically, models and tools are shifting from, wow, it generated something, to, can it finish the work? We talked about GPT 5.5 leaning hard into multi-step follow-through, tool use, self-checking.
Yeah, less pretty paragraph, more please complete the annoying chain without me babysitting, which is exactly what this Adobe connector is. It's not glam, it's shipping.
And there's a parallel on the open side too. Mirage AI dropped Alice, that open weights text-to-video model with commercial-friendly licensing. Different audience, but same theme. Control your pipeline, reduce the bottlenecks.
Totally. Like closed tools are rent your workflow, open tools are build your workflow, and Adobe is doing a third thing, keep your workflow, but add an AI dispatcher.
That's a good framing. And NVIDIA's Nemotron 3 Nano Omni drop also fits one model that can handle multimodal inputs for production pipelines. Fewer fragile chains. Everyone is trying to make AI less demo-coded and more operational.
We're entering the era of boring AI, and I mean that as the highest compliment.
Okay, let's make this practical. Riley, what's the first real workflow you'd automate with Claude plus Adobe?
Versioning and exports. Immediately. I want to say, take this hero asset, make it platform ready for TikTok, Reels, Shorts, Feeds, Stories, and also give me a thumbnail set that matches the hook. And I want it organized like a sane person did it.
Yup. For me, it's the sacred art of finding the actual final.psd. I want Claude to package the correct files, collect linked assets, and label everything cleanly for handoff.
Wait, asset packaging is the sleeper killer feature, because half of creative work is actually deliverable logistics.
100%. But you still need human QA. Especially on the last 10%, masks, reflections, tricky hair, fast-cut footage, Claude can accelerate, but it can't be accountable.
Also, taste. Like, Claude might crop a video correctly, but does it crop it in a way that feels intentional? That's still us.
Which brings us to training. If the bottleneck shifts from making to directing, creative teams should train for systems thinking and QA loops, plus being really clear about what done looks like.
And maybe diplomatic negotiation with a chat box, because you will be in there like, no babe, not that background, the other one. The vibe is winter tech, not dentist office.
Ha. Okay, quick aside. Spotify rolling out verified by Spotify badges to prove artists are human because AI music is flooding in is peak 2026.
The funniest dystopia is that soon we'll need verified human badges for podcast guests. Like, please blink twice and name a childhood pet to continue.
Meanwhile, an AI search engine is out here telling cat and mouse dad jokes on Catterday. The machines are developing a personality and it is aggressively corny.
That's how they get you. First it's puns, next it's I exported the wrong folder but I did it with Riz.
And then there's the Babylon Bee satire like, let humans self-destruct, it's more efficient, which, okay. Satire is doing cardio this year.
Honestly, satire is the only thing keeping the timeline emotionally hydrated.
Bringing it back. Adobe's Claude connector is a real step toward AI as production coordinator, not your designer, not your editor. The coordinator who never complains about exporting infinite versions.
But also the coordinator who needs boundaries, templates, brand kits, and a human at the end going, yep, this is correct and not cursed.
Exactly. If you're a solo creator, this could be a huge speed boost without building your own automation dungeon. If you're a team, it's a standardization opportunity and a permissions and governance project.
Translation, this is exciting, but don't hand it the keys to the whole Adobe house on day one.
All right, that's the episode. Thanks for hanging with us on Blue Lightning Daily.
Go check out bluelightningtv.com for more AI news and updates, and subscribe so you don't miss the next time our fully automated robot podcast accidentally tries to verify your humanity. Catch you next time.
And Claude, please export this episode as final for real.
And don't put it in the meme folder, please.